Hi everyone. So last time in our medley tutorial we built this progression from one piece to another to make our medley, but we've still got all of them in separate MuseScore files, and so it's time to connect them all together, and I'll put them into one main MuseScore part. Now the trouble with this is it would be so nice if we could just smush them all together, but MuseScore doesn't have that functionality, and even just copying and pasting, well, let's give it a try. So the first one I want is a ladybug, and it actually starts with an upbeat, but let's fix that later. For now I'm just going to say Control All, copy, go back to my original and paste. And you can see the trouble is that it does not copy key signatures, and we also know that it doesn't copy time signatures. And so for these ones like comma, where it's 3444 3444, this is going to get really irritating. But we will keep doing what we can. There was for a while a time signature copy and paste plugin that you could get, and apparently that worked very well. I've heard good things about it. Unfortunately, it does not currently work with MuseScore 4.4 and upwards. So if you're still on 4.3 or 4.2, it should work, but 4.4 and 4.5 is not working, unfortunately. And that's because of the change in all the MuseScore plugins that came with 4.4. So we'll have to do this old school. So let's have our key signatures ready and our time signatures ready, and we'll put those in. So this one is 2 flats. Then we got the next section. Let's leave a bar gap and copy the next one in. Here we've got a tempo, time signature, key signature. Key signature is still the same, but we need a time signature as well. I mean, a key signature is still the same. We need time signature is still the same. We need a tempo. So let's have our tempo, which is 120 if I'm right. Yes. Okay, it was a bit of a mission to get them all in, especially these changing time signatures. Very frustrating to have to go and put in all the time signatures first and then copy everything. Same with putting in different new key signatures, new tempos for all the different pieces. So now I just want to make sure that I know what is what, and so I'm going to go into, let's close all these, and into text, and let's make a system text. That means it'll appear on all of the different parts as well. And so let's just write in the names of these pieces. So this is Lady Berger, and I'm putting in where this comes from as well, the FRK. Probably a good time to also add in our special character, which is that one. Brilliant. I'll just do the same for the others. In fact, what I'll do is I'll copy this one, and at the next tempo change, there it is, I can simply paste it in and just change the details. Control A to select all. This is Orepat. Alright, I'll continue with the others. Another nice feature of MuseScore when working with a large medley like this, which is 10 minutes long, is in the View menu, and we can go Timeline or F12. And here we can see, first of all, where are different tempo markings. So that's useful to get around the score quickly. In this case, because I've got a new tempo for each different song. But you could also do this with rehearsal marks if you wanted to. And certainly that would make sense, especially if you're not changing tempo as often as I am. We can go to different key signature, time signatures, obviously. And you can also see which bars have music, which is quite cool for seeing, which sections. Well, actually, these are which the lighter ones are which don't have music. So you can see if there's a particular instrument that doesn't play for a while. Here you can see obviously that's no piano. Then the piano takes another gap in the middle, and then mostly is playing all the time. You can see my upper voices. The first takes the rest there. So quite a useful thing to just evaluate what's going on in the grand scheme of things. Now, because this is my first piece, I want to not have that full bar. I just want an upbeat bar. And so I'll just need to change this bar by going right click, bar properties. And then I want to make it an actually one crotchet and exclude from the bar count. And that should... that should lose all of our information. That's not ideal. So this was crotchet equals 100. No, 80. Yes, it was crotchet equals 80. We've still got our time signature and our key signature, but it just lost our tempo and our first note. So that's a quick way to make our proper anacrusis or upbeat. Alright, so we're at our first transition. This is coming out of our first song. At the moment I've got this bar gap before we go into... So it is quite a big difference in tempo, but it's always a good idea to just see how it goes. Can they work together? Let's see. Okay, so the answer is yes, but they are the same chord. Can I make it happen across the bar? Let's see if we can. This is all still the same chord, so that I'm not too worried about. Let's try bring that in and delete that, and in fact just delete this whole bar. Okay, so let's see if that transition works. No, it does not work. Okay, let's undo. Thank goodness for undo. Alright. I think what might work better is to start that tempo just a little bit early after that pause, and then perhaps come in with the piano. And in fact, let's take that out. There we go. And we can start with the tempo there. Crotchet equals 120. We might need to make that a bit of a cue, but we can do that. And we can probably put a slight pause on these just to make sure. Since we're changing from quite a slow tempo to a fast tempo, I don't mind using a pause. I know I hate it. It's the lazy arrangers way. Pause and then into the next one. But I think in this instance it might work best anyway. There we go. Breaths and pauses and just a normal pause. So hopefully now... I think that might be the best way to get through this one. Yeah, it does stop the flow a little bit. I wonder if there is a better way. Possibly without the pauses. Let's try that. That actually works. Yeah, why not? Keep it there. Okay, so now let's add those cues so that we can see what else is happening. So copy, let's paste it to there. Let's make it cue size in the properties. And just delete that first section. And we'll add a little note that this is piano. And then I want to paste that in, but on top of these other ones. So what I'm going to do is first make it a voice 3. No, actually, let's make it a voice 2. Then I can use my selection filter to not select voice 1. Copy voice 2. Please work. Yes. Yes, indeed. Oops. Then I'll select all of those, make them cue size. There we go. And let's just bring it up for clarity purposes. And then this one can be voice 1 again. Cue size. Let's copy that Into those. Oh, that one needs to be queue size as well. There we go. So that hopefully when we go and look at the parts, let's go open up our first clarinet part, for instance, or our second clarinet part. Alright, we see a small piano cue there. That could be very useful. On to the next. Alright, here's our next transition. I've got this bar between them. We're going from crotchet equals 120 into crotchet equals 72, but they're both in B flat major, so that helps. We don't have to do any key change stuff, just tempo adjusting. Okay, so first step will be to delete the empty bar between them. Let's add a double bar just for clarity's sake. It does work. I feel like this ending of Reipat could possibly, let's try it with a 2-bar rit. See how that works. And we'll need to use the properties because in the playback 75% of 120, quick maths anyone? Well, I want 72 divided by 120 is 60%. Okay, so we're not too far off there. So we want a 60% rit. Let's see how that works. It kind of works. There's that sort of gap there, so maybe we can just fill that up with a chord or even just a note. Perhaps the top F. Yeah, that works better. Lovely. And now we've got the piano doing the transition for us mostly. We might still need to fill this in, but we can see, you know, it's going from a lot of movement to nothing all at once. So we may need to adjust that. But I think for now, let's move on to the next one. Okay, and now we're moving from 72 back to 92. So again, getting faster, and I end with just a plain chord. Let's hear this ending. And it is a B flat major chord. Do we need to hear the whole chord? Or can we jump straight in? Let's see if we can jump straight in. Let's give this a try. So we're going to delete this bar definitely. We want to take this note. Let's take that. There we go. And then we can move this. Cut that to the beginning here so that we only start the new tempo once we start there. And now we've got this empty bar again, which we can delete. That's still with the chord. That actually works pretty well. I'm fairly happy with that. Let's see what happens if we take it one step further back. I'm going to save this. We can always load again if we want to, or just undo. So let's tricky. Let's try to turn this into a minim. Minim there. Crotchet there. Let's see if that works. Let's copy that over. Always a good idea to put things in as essentially we're going to delete this bar, right? Once we're done, we can keep that. We want to move that. Oops, just a note. We wanted the dynamic with it as well, right? And then the stamp will disappear. Wait, where's my empty bar here? That's going to be my empty bar, right? So cut that over, cut that over. And tempo. Right, so as this one ends, the next one starts. Let's see how that will work. Delete that bar. Right, let's see. That actually works pretty well too. I'm surprised. So the question is, do we want it to hit the chord first and then go in? Okay, let's keep this one here. We can go back if we need to, but I quite like the idea of the flow, right? We definitely want to keep flow in this piece and not let it stagnate. So cool, another one done. Let's move on. Okay, here's our first key change one. We're going firstly from crotchet equals 92 to crotchet equals 80. So we are slowing down and we're changing key to the dominant. We're going from B flat major to F major. So let's hear the last two bars. Again, we have an upbeat. It's a very gentle opening. So definitely, let's get rid of that bar. Again, we have to try it. Let's take those, take the upbeat and put it, insert it into that. We can. Okay, let's start there. Let's do a slow retardando from here to get to the new tempo. And we're going from 92 to 80. Where's my calculator? I should just leave it open, hey. 92 to 80, right, so we're going from 80 divided by 92.86. All right, 86%. Let's call it 87%. Round it down. Round it up. So, properties, playback. What did I say? 87. Could I use an E natural? Will it sound weird? Just to preempt that key change? It sounds very weird. Okay, I can't do that. But we could use the... what chord? Some other chord here. Let's try this, the F major. It's weird that it starts on the third of the scale. You know, if it started on the fifth or the second, we would have a really strong dominant feeling, which we could use to transition the key. But it's not giving us that. We could possibly change this last chord. We could change it to F major dominant seventh. Do we dare try it? Let's see. Make it a C dominant seventh. I have a feeling this is not going to end well. Let's see. I mean, initially that doesn't bug me too much. Let's have a listen for a bit more. I may need to sleep on this one. Yeah, it actually, because we're keeping the melody, I think that's what's saving this one. You know, it's still the tonic there, but we're turning it into the seventh of the dominant seventh with that chord, the dominant seventh of the new key, which of course means we need our key signature back because we deleted that bar. Let's bring that back. I actually quite like it. It's growing on me. The first time I heard it, I wasn't quite sure, but now I think it's grown on me. However, this chorale, does it just kind of disappear? What's our dynamic mezzo forte going to mezzo piano. Okay, so we need to have a decrescendo as well through all of these. Let's get them down into their mezzo piano. I don't know. What do you think? Is it terrible? I kind of like it. Let's see if we can move on. Let's just do that decrescendo through those as well. Alright, so that was all clarinets for that arrangement. In fact, only 4 clarinets. It was a lighter arrangement at crotchet equals 80, was it? Yep, crotchet equals 80, and now going into crotchet equals 90, but still in F major, so no problems with key change. But we do have the piano changing to bass clef on both voices. Why are we treble clef here? Hold on. Okay, this was treble clef for a while. That's fine. Let's just change that. Clefs. Change those back. Right. We're ending with an F major chord. We're starting with an F major chord. That's fairly fine. Perhaps just a chord in the piano to introduce us. We can do that, I think. Probably a crotchet. Let's bring this back. This one as well. Oh, hello. Crotchet. Let's have an F row, the dominant. So this is a C chord. Don't want to have it too high. In fact, we can. Let's see if we have a nice low C there. Nope, that doesn't work. Boom, boom. C works, but not the E. What if it was just C's? That kind of does work. Just gets us into it. Okay, next transition is an interesting one. We're going from F major to B flat major, and we're going from crotchet equals 90 to crotchet equals 56. A big change in key and a big change in tempo. Let's hear it. And it almost feels like this one is faster because it's semi-quavers crotchet equals 56, whereas this is quavers crotchet equals 90. So we're almost thinking in, yeah, quaver equals 10, what's that, 112 from the crotchet equals 90. Give me a second to think about this one. Okay, so I've taken out the middle bar. I've added this E flat to turn it into the dominant 7th now. Right, we've got F, 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 E flat, A, and C, which is a dominant 7th in the key of B flat, which should lead us back to B flat very nicely. But because this has a little gap, and this is actually supposed to be the upbeat to a 3/4 bar, right? The rest of this is in 3/4/4/4, 3/4/4/4. That is what's causing the problem. It's our timing that's causing the problem. Let's have a listen. And our first chord is actually an E flat chord, even though the opening arpeggio is a B flat major and the whole thing is in B flat major, which is interesting. Could we perhaps turn this chord into that same B flat chord? Let's try. I think it might work. It's so crazy, it just might work. All right, let's give it a try. Then we can take this whole beat and add it into the end. Ooh, very nice MuseScore. Knew what we were doing. Okay, delete that bar. And let's see what we've got. Delete the extra bar. Clarinets feel a little unfulfilled, being on a B flat major chord. Does it matter as to where we're going? I'm not sure. We may have to listen to it in the greater context, but for now, let's leave it there. Alrighty, now we're moving from. Why is that 1 3 4? Let's just put a 3 4 in there. We're moving from crotchet equals 56 to crotchet equals 76. That's again quite a difference. Both end on the B flat chord, or ends on the B flat and starts on the B flat. Well, we always have to try it, right? What happens if we just jump from one to the other? Okay, no, this one is clear. This one does not need this bar. This is very much filler. It can jump straight into that. Yes, perfect. All right, so what we're going to do is just delete. No, we're going to copy those two to there. We're going to cut that. That will not matter. So delete this whole bar. We don't need the 3 4, but we will put in a double bar line. Luckily, we're not changing key. Yep, I like that. It flows nicely. It moves from one to the other without having to worry about extra bits. Good, this is nice. It is reducing our time slightly. Remember, we're getting rid of individual bars and clamping them together, which means we are reducing our time. But I'm hoping it won't be too much of an issue. We got very close to the 10 minutes just with raw material as it was. Okay, we're on to our last transition, which goes from comma, which is crotchet equals 72, to crotchet equals 150. This is definitely going to feel like a double time changeover. So how can we do it? Let's just hear this. And we're changing key as well. My goodness. It does end on the C. That's nice. It ends on an... Does it end? Oh, it ends on the F major chord. Oh, beautiful. And it will pretty much feel like double time. And because the piano takes it, we with the intro, we don't have to worry about everyone synchronizing at the beginning. The piano can just do it. Let's see if we can make it work. This one is reaching down. I wonder if we rather needed reaching up. Let's have another F chord here. F and A. Go. Perhaps. That could indeed perhaps work. Alright, it's evaluation time. We're going to listen from the beginning, but I'm not going to let you listen. I'll only let you listen when we've got the final version. Bye for now.